What's up, you guys? It's Keith Trades from Stock Hours here. Today we're going to be talking specifically about trading setups. Today we're going to go over why some setups just don't make sense for beginner traders. I know all beginner traders see these cool setups and they're like, you know what? I want 100 screens on my setup. This is going to be awesome. But you really don't need to spend that much money to get a good starter trading setup. Personally, I've had this setup since I very first started trading 8 years ago, and the entire setup cost me less than $1,000. So I'm going to take you through everything in my setup and show you what it is, and I will have links for everything down in the description. A couple of these products have probably changed over the years since I got them, but the concept still stays exactly the same. So let's dive into the setup. All right, so now that you guys have seen the setup, we're going to go over the necessities and the non-necessities of having this exact setup. So what you're going to want to look for in a beginner trading setup is not anything super fancy. For me personally, the most important part was that I could see everything that I needed to see, and obviously have the functional tools in order to execute on these trades, such as a mouse and a keyboard. Obviously, some of the things on this desk I have for more of an aesthetic value rather than a cheap value, but the same thing applies regardless. So on my personal setup, I have a desk from IKEA, which costs around $70. $70 for a desk is extremely cheap. And some of these things, if you're just trading and not helping teach, not gaming, not doing anything else like that, this microphone, for example, is not necessary. You don't need to have a microphone in order to trade. I need a microphone because I talk on mic with all the rest of the guys in Stock Hours every day, and I teach lessons on Mondays and Wednesdays, not to mention my other training with some of my students. So a mic is absolutely not necessary for your trading setup. That's going to save you around $80 of unneeded expenses. Now, as far as my keyboard goes, I have a Razer keyboard. I got one of the cheaper Razer RGB keyboards. It's not a mechanical keyboard. It's nothing fancy like that. I just got a Razer keyboard that had a number pad and had the RGB lighting because I think it looks cool. If I needed to go a cheaper route, I would have. But as far as this goes, you can get a keyboard for $15 to $20 on Amazon. You don't need to buy an $80 keyboard just because it has lights on it. We're just talking about the necessary items in order to get you trading. Now, as far as my screens go, my screens were actually fairly inexpensive. These are two HP VH240A 24-inch screens, and they are 1080p. They're not a super crazy refresh rate. They don't have anything nuts like that. I don't need great quality in order to see what a candlestick looks like. I personally don't play video games, so that is of no value to me to have a very high quality, top of the line monitor that I don't really need. Now, at the time when I got these monitors were around $150 a piece. So in total, I spent around $300 on both of my monitors. Now, what's holding these monitors in place here is a Kensington dual monitor, dual arm mount for your desk. This, once again, is completely unnecessary. Your monitors come with their own stands. You don't have to buy this. I got it for aesthetic value. Anything other than that, it's not necessary. I could have just set my monitors right next to each other with the factory stands that they came with, but I liked the look of this, so I went ahead and got it. This was around $50. I did happen to get a really good deal with my PC, which is a very large portion of the overall cost of this setup. My PC, I actually got from a friend that used to use it for gaming. I don't game. I don't need any of the fancy graphics cards. I don't need any of that. I literally just need a good CPU and good RAM. So for this computer, I ended up getting it for around $300. So that was actually a huge cost saver there whenever I originally was buying my setup. You also don't need to go out and buy some super fancy gaming PC. You can get away with just having a regular PC like anybody at any normal desk job would have. If you absolutely need to, you can still upgrade the RAM, and then everything is gonna be okay. You don't need to have the fancy lights, you don't need to have the fancy fans, you don't need any of that. Just any PC or any laptop that you can hook to some monitors is perfectly okay. You don't even have to have more than one screen if you don't need one. Whenever I'm trading on the go, I am always using this MacBook Air right here. So this MacBook Air is actually going to cost you more than my entire desk setup was, but if you are just wanting to get into trading and you already have a laptop, which I feel like a lot of people do at this point, but you can absolutely get away with just using a laptop to trade. This has made me more money than I spent on it by a long shot, and I rarely ever trade on it. So you can completely get away with just using a laptop or a single monitor computer, which most people already have. Any computer that you have access to is going to be your cheapest trading setup. You don't need all of this extra stuff. I like to have the extra space so I can look at all the charts that I need to in order to communicate that with the chat. If you're in stock hours, you don't even need to see half of the stuff that we're seeing because we're already making it clear about what everything is doing. I'm not going to count my TV as part of this setup, but this TV up here I have running 24/7 with ES and NQ on it at all times. So this is unnecessary. I had a TV, I put it on the wall, I connected it to my old MacBook, and my old MacBook just runs ES and NQ at all points in time throughout the day. I don't really pay too much attention to that TV. I'll glance up there and look at it. It's honestly, at this point, more for aesthetic value than anything because I always have ES or NQ down here on this chart right here, which I think you might be able to see on the screen. But right down here, I always have ES and NQ. Now, my left-hand screen over here is always going to be where my brokerage is at. So when I'm trading, my execution platform that I use, which is Interactive Brokers, is always going to be on the left side here. I don't have that pulled up right now because it shows all of my personal info, and I would prefer that you guys don't have that. I always use IB on my left window over here. I always have Thinkorswim running over here with all of my charts on my right screen. I think that pretty much runs us through everything. I don't know if there's anything that I forgot. Obviously, we got to have the Wall Street Bull down here for good luck. And then as far as the speakers go, I got these speakers at Walmart, and I am fairly confident that they were less than $50. Yeah, so these Logitech speakers ran me $37. They're not good quality by any means, but if you are just trying to have some speakers to plug into your computer to listen to the chat, then you don't really need super great quality speakers. $37 there. We have $300 on the PC. We have about $80 on the keyboard, about $60 on the mouse, which is also a Razer mouse. It's Bluetooth, it's wireless. Once again, not necessary. You can get a $5, $10 mouse from Walmart and be functioning perfectly okay. Your cable management just won't look as clean. So you got to basically give and take a little bit whenever you're building a cheaper trading setup. Like I said, this setup has lasted me for 8 years now. I've not changed a thing with it other than adding small things every now and then. Like I added this Stream Deck over here where you saw I have all my buy and sell execution buttons. Honestly, this Stream Deck has pretty much turned into a paperweight at this point because I never use it. I just have it there and I own it now. If I try to get rid of it, I'm not going to get what it's worth anyways. So might as well just keep it and have my desk look a little bit cooler. But yeah, so as far as that goes, we're looking at about $300 total on the monitors. We're looking at about $300 on the PC. The desk was $70. The monitor mount was $50. So we're around $700 right now with the necessary stuff. Now, the Razer keyboard, if you get rid of that $80 expense, you get rid of that $70 expense and get a cheap keyboard and mouse pack from Walmart for $20, $30, you're saving a bunch of money on that. As far as the speakers go, if you need speakers, then get them. But your monitors usually come with in-unit speakers, so those are not necessary either, really. A lot of the things when it comes to a trading setup is more along the lines of people want their setup to look cool. If you're not worried about how cool your setup looks, you can build a very, very inexpensive setup that is not going to run you too much money. What you really need to be focused on at the beginning of your trading is not what your setup looks like or how cool it is. You're really going to need to be focusing your money towards education and actually funding your account. So, with that being said, go for the cheapest route possible when it comes to trading setups. Anything that you see with more than one screen and more than one computer in general is unnecessary. Like I said, what does a laptop come with? It comes with one screen on one computer. Anybody can trade from their laptop. Anybody can trade from their laptop. That's just a blanket statement there. You don't need anything more than a laptop to get started. Obviously, once you're profitable and all that, I would say go for it. Build whatever kind of setup you want to. If you think setups look cool, go ahead and build one. I personally am about to build a new setup as well whenever I move into a larger space with a larger office. So I will be probably just taking this setup and expanding from there, but overall it is going to be a bit of a different setup. It's going to be even more unnecessary, but either way, I think they look cool and I think I could get some use from it. But yeah, you really don't need more than one screen and one computer. So I hope this maybe helped you guys save some money. If you guys already have a computer at home or you already have a laptop, you know, it can save you a little bit of money there, just knowing that you don't need anything crazy to get into trading. And if you guys do want anything that I have here on my setup, I will put the links down in the description. If the product still exists, I will put the exact product link. If the product does not exist anymore, I will put an updated link for a replica or basically the exact match of what that product already is. I will throw that in the description. So hope you guys have a good rest of your day and a great rest of your week. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.